Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, Market Trader. And before we get started here, guys, we'll need to run through our risk disclosure here. So we'll go ahead and do just that. So just want to remind everyone that the content that's being distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company and its partners, representatives, agents, employees, contractors assume no liability or low responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of this information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk, not for every investor. And an investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. So now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention over to the news portal and see what news we have in store today that could have an impact on the markets today. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. Let's just go ahead and shift over to the news and take a look and see what news we have today that could impact the market. So a fair amount of news that you can see. We have trade balance, initial jobless claims that are being reported as we speak. Labor costs, productivity, continued jobless claims, all being reported. So a little bit of mixed information here. So trade balance came in a bit negative. Initial jobless claims also came in negative. Continued jobless claims came in a bit positive. And then we have a fair number of earnings here that are going to be reported here: Caterpillar, Lockheed, MasterCard, to name a few. Okay, as we continue throughout the day here, kind of our post, FOMC day here now, we have some, information coming out of, actually, Apple's earning. Apple's reporting today, and then we're getting another earnings coming in from Visa. And then we have a couple of speaking engagements, or announcements coming in from our president, okay, which always has an impact on our potential of impacting us. We have factory orders month over month coming in at 10 a.m. today, okay? That could impact us as well. All right. So fair amount of news coming in today, and then as we look to close the week, again, more in the way of earnings. And then we have some PPI, both year over year and month over month, coming in tomorrow. All right. So now that we have a feel for the news here, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the platform here and start to see what kind of context we can generate from the markets. Black screen. Okay, let's see if we're going to fix that. Let's see. Let's just do this again really quick and see if that displays. Hopefully that came across okay. So we'll just kind of splash the. Okay, good. All right. And we'll now turn our attention over to the trading platform. Let's see here. All right. Just kind of pause here and see if that's visible. And we're going to modify this to the gold market. Okay. Just pause here, see if that's visible. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you, After Will. Appreciate that. All right. Let's go ahead and start off with the daily chart. Good morning. Good morning, Marie. Okay. So starting off with the gold chart, I was doing some forecasting here in the gold, and gold has been quite the market here, guys. We have 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row where we've left gaps in the market. Okay, so gap open Wednesday, another gap open to the upside today. Okay, indicating again quite the strong market here on the daily chart. Okay, in some cases, the feeling is that this, if you look and kind of compress this, you can see how kind of parabolic, how unsustained this kind of move is right. So something that we need to be aware of. There's going to be some sort of correction here in this gold market. We just don't know when. Okay. We have, again, we're leaving gaps in its wake here, right? So daily chart, very strong. Looking at the DMI indicator here, you can see that our DMI indicator, the positive DI is up in the almost the 50 range. Our ADX is at 41. Okay, almost twice as high as we normally would receive on just a strong trending market. Okay, so daily chart, very very bullish. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart here, just again, I'm just kind of looking at this, and then we'll just open up some of our indicators here in a bit. So we have again a market that continues to kind of staircase higher here. We had I guess during the overnight here we had a little bit of a pullback, but now as we get closer to the open, or actually at the open of the New York session, we're starting to develop here another bullish candle, again developing a little bit in the way of a flag pattern here. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see if we remain in this kind of flag pattern, or do we get yet another leg here to the upside? If we do, then I'm thinking, let's take a look here using the extension tool. Right, we're thinking that 58.75 is not out of the question. 57.21, not out of the realm of possibilities here. Okay, in this market. All right. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart, this is where I'm going to open up some of my indicators here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and open up the visible range volume profile. We'll start with that. Okay, so right now we're kind of ranging on the shorter time frame. We're going to go ahead and see if we can open up the EMAs here. So we have a 9 EMA. We have our VWAP. We're going to go ahead and add, and then that should carry us here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and kind of compare where we are with respect to where is price with respect to yesterday's price action. So we'll go ahead and do that first. Okay, so we'll open up the fixed range volume profile. We're going to locate the start of yesterday here and drag this across to the close. Okay, so you can see, right, we're well above value, indicating a lot of strength in this market. You see that gap that we left here on the open of this market. So expectation is that we'll eventually fill this gap at some point. Let's go ahead and see if we can mark this area as an area of support. Okay, so we'll go ahead and mark this area here as a supportive area. Okay, right about that area. So right around, I know well below the market here, but 54.48, 54.50, maybe as low as 54.16. The expectation that area is going to be somewhat supportive. Now, I don't know if this is maybe a very crude head and shoulder pattern, but I do see maybe the possibility of a left shoulder here, maybe the head, and didn't quite make that right shoulder, but maybe a little bit of a topping pattern that's maybe developing here in the gold market. Okay, which again would not surprise us, right? Because we have been in such a strong move here to the upside. It stands to reason that we could easily range and maybe pull back some. Okay, today, right? So that's something to be aware of. I'm going to go ahead now and kind of compare our initial balance ranges here across the various sessions. We're going to start off with the Tokyo session. Tokyo really didn't offer us it offered us a little bit of an extension here to the upside, as you can see. Excuse me. To the upside, we got to the 200% extension before we kind of rotated back inside initial balance, and London, okay, was not much different. We actually were not able to leave the range. We were in range, through the entire session here. Okay, so market right now appears again still quite bullish. Okay, I would say in this market, but in some sort of range. Okay, so if let's go ahead now and open up the for the day session, see what kind of initial balance range we're developing. Okay, so we'll go ahead that day session. Okay, there's our day session initial balance. So relatively tight range. Okay, so um, it'll be interesting. It should not take much effort to break this range. Okay, so right now I would say that the market is in some sort of range, still quite bullish on the higher time frame. Would not surprise. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the settlement price here just to figure out exactly where settlement is. Let's see, where's settlement is well below us here. Okay. All right, well below us. Now the question is whether we make that kind of rotation here in one day here, but we have settlement. That's right, all the way down to 5,300. That's a monster move here. 200 points in one day. Okay, that's just a huge move in the gold. Okay, as I guess we got, we're now in the April contracts, right? Now that folks are now placing their positions, and obviously the positions that they want to be a part of is to the gold, is to the long side. Okay. So we have a couple areas here. We have a gap that was left here at 54.50, which is still well below the market. And we have settlement down here at 5,300. Okay. So that's again quite the distance here. So it's probably unreasonable to expect that we would kind of completely rotate all the way down here. There's probably a good chance that maybe we come back. Maybe there's a possibility that we either remain in range, right? So it'll be interesting to see how we react around 55.12. Okay. 55.12 has been tested once and twice, and that we found buyers in both cases. And now we're developing a little bit in the way of a consolidation pattern, right? So as we head into the session, as we head into the today's session, I would say that we have to look at this market in probably more bullish to neutral. Okay, bullish to neutral is kind of what I'm seeing here. It's a lot of relatively neutral price action in the Asia market. We did get a little bit of extension before we rotated lower. London really didn't give us any insight, so it'll be interesting to see exactly which direction does New York takes this market, because we have a relatively narrow initial balance range. Okay, if you look at some of the other initial balance ranges in gold, it's a bit wider than what we have currently. Okay, so again, the order here is to remain patient, right? Because we see we see wicks on both ends of the candle. Like I said, there's maybe a little bit of a development here. I think looking at this on the 30-minute side, you can see that maybe this might be in the beginnings of developing a little bit of a reversal pattern here. Like I said, looks like a little bit of a head and shoulder. So it'll be interesting for me is, can we fill this area in? Okay. Can price ever get inside this area? Right. Because if not, then it feels like maybe it's going to rotate and maybe fill in some of the exuberance, some of the exuberance that we had here in the overnight trading. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for you for the gold market. Again, I think going into the market, I'm gonna stick with my neutral to bullish rating here. It'll be again interesting to see if we continue to hold 55.14. If we don't hold 55.14, I think I think we'll potentially rotate all the way down here to potentially fill this gap down below, which seems quite excessive, because that's another 140 points. Another 140 points where price is currently. Okay, but if I do again another little measure here of my using my trend based tool here, okay, well there it is. Okay, where is my 100% extension landing? Right at that the edge of that gap. Okay, so it's not by accident that we could potentially. Yeah, well, I think that right now we're kind of, I mean, right now we're kind of in, yeah, again, we're definitely bullish. rotating to that area, I think on the short term certainly would indicate maybe a beginning of some bearish price action. But if we compare that to the higher time frame, that might just merely be a pullback. Okay, that might just merely be a pullback. So we could still remain. I agree. Shorter time on the shorter time frame, that might be the beginnings of a little bit of a bearish. But I think the market, given the fact that we've been leaving these gaps, I think the overall sentiment remains to the bullish side. Okay, so this would be just a natural rotation of price to a level where maybe participants could potentially participate again. And given the gap that was left, the view is that the same people that were willing to take or were willing to buy here are probably willing to buy at these levels again, since this is the first time they would be tested. Okay. All right, let's go ahead now and move on to the silver market. Okay, looking at the silver market, looking at the daily, again, daily also left a gap. Okay, all right, so we have a gap here in silver. Again, very parabolic kind of move that we're making into silver. We're developing another candle that is breaking new highs. Okay, so silver is showing a little bit of strength here. Okay, looking at the ADI and ADX, we have a ADX reading of 70 and a positive DI of 35. So again, fair amount of momentum here to the upside in silver. Looking at the 4-hour chart, I'm going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance here for a moment and just kind of take a look here and see what kind of price action we're getting. Again, we're getting a staircase price action to the upside. Okay, so we're staircasing, making new highs. Okay, and we have a candle that's developing yet another bullish candle, indicating that there's more upside opportunity. Okay, so taking a look at the 30-minute chart, looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and compare. You can see that price is above our value range. Okay, so this would be a logical level here, 117 if I'm bullish. This would be a kind of a more of a discount zone, all right, to look for a long here on the 30-minute chart. If we compare price with yesterday's price action, okay, so this is right about here. Drag that across. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're not as extended in silver as we are in gold. Okay, so we had a nice little extension here. We rallied, and now we've managed to hold this area here. So we're going to go ahead and mark this area as maybe a potential area of support. We had a little bit of a double bottom. You can see that little W pattern that we developed here. Let's see if we can find my tool to right here, right? So a little bit of a W pattern, right? So, oops. Okay, so that's kind of what we're seeing there, right? So that's supportive. If we compare initial balances across the various markets, we'll take a look here. Start at Asia. Okay, Asia was relatively neutral. We did make one push. You got a little bit of a failed auction. I mean, everybody was probably expecting, given the moves that we've been getting in silver of late, that was going to maybe lead to another maybe auction to the upside. On the contrary, it created a reversal. And where did we reverse through? Well, once we got back inside initial balance, again, we rotated all the way down to the other side of the initial balance range. And now we created that little double bottom pattern. And now maybe we're making another attempt to see if we can get above 120. Okay, so 120 seems to be kind of the new line in the sand. So if we are going to remain in a bullish pattern, yeah, holding nicely above our value area high here, right, on the visible range. And if I let's see here, did I draw it already? Yeah, we're above some of the indicators that we care about to the upside. So I would say that this is looking far more bullish to me than what we're seeing in the gold market. Gold market feels like that might be a little bit of extended, okay, and that maybe it wants to remain in range here maybe today. Okay, so silver looking quite bullish here. Okay, so if we do manage to get above 120, okay, this most recent high here, then I would say that 120 could be used as an area of support. If we cannot hold, if we cannot get above 120, we could see maybe another rotation of price, maybe coming back to another, maybe down to VWAP, right? Would not be a possibility, but you could see that price is continuing to hold above our 9 EMA, continuing to hold above our VWAP, and the readings are still remain positive, right? We still have a 24 reading here. ADX has really not gotten above 20, so not a whole lot of momentum currently in this bullish move that we're seeing. So in order for it to really move into a trend, we really need to see that ADX reading to get above 20. Okay. All right. So headed into the session, I guess I'm going to give it again another kind of neutral to bullish kind of reading. I would say this looks a little bit more bullish. I'm seeing a price action that shows me a little bit more bullish than the gold market. Okay. Let's go ahead now and move on to the crude oil market. We'll take a look here at the crude oil market. Crude oil market has awoken. Yeah, that was pretty good fake out. Yeah, I saw that as well, Arizona. Let's take a look here at the daily chart on the crude oil. Crude oil looks like has picked up some momentum here of late. I was doing again some analysis here last night on exactly where this move could potentially go. If it's already kind of exceeded my expectations on this move here on the daily chart, right? So again, I'm doing a little bit of kind of extension analysis here, right? So this is we're already at the 100% extension. Okay, we're at the 65 level, and I think if you recall, 65 has been an area that I mentioned, quite a bit, right? If we are to continue this kind of bullish move, then 65 does appear to be an area, that it would be a destination, and we're there, we're here. Okay, now looking at the ADX and the DMI indicator, right? Look at the strength in this momentum. We have an ADX reading of 30, a positive DI, and we have separation. Okay, so this is if I had to pick an ideal kind of look for a trending market, this is it. Okay, we have a DMI indicator indicating that the move that we're in is quite strong. Okay, looking at the volume delta, giving us a positive reading here of 17,000 more buy orders than sell orders net. Okay, so that's also positive here. Okay, so taking a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, again, we continue to hold above the 9 EMA, continuing to show signs of strength in this market, right? We're booking candle after candle, all right, on the bullish side. All right. Again, we have an ADX reading of over 25, which is quite strong. I'm going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for a moment. So 4-hour chart is also giving us a similar kind of look and feel that we see in the daily, right? Continued upside opportunities appear to be present in the crude oil market. Just going to take a look here at ADR levels. We've already exceeded the average daily range for the day. Okay, so this will become a little bit more visible here as we move into the 30-minute chart. You can see that we're well above statistical ranges here. Okay, we got above here late, I guess, in London. All right, broke above the ADR, didn't really offer us much in the way of rotation, and we are continuing in that same direction. So indicating that we are, it appears, in a somewhat of a sustained move in the crude oil market. Taking a look now at the compare, we're going to go ahead and compare fixed range volume profile here, see exactly where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this. We'll start off over here. Okay, and close. Okay, again, we could see that price is well above All right, our value area from yesterday. We were trading at 63.29. We're now trading 2 points higher, 2 full points higher in this market. Okay. Taking a look at the initial balance range, I think this is going to probably report the same kind of thing that we've seen in crude oil historically, is that Tokyo is relatively, see, in this case, actually Tokyo was actually as bullish as London, right? Tokyo, we see a nice break, a retest, and a continuation. London also providing us a break above. Okay, so Tokyo, a good number of buyers, in this market currently. Now, are we a bit extended to the upside? Yes. Are we overdue for maybe a little bit of a pullback? Yes. 65 seems like a logical level for me, and that would bring us back down to the 9 EMA, right? So something I would welcome something like this, right? A pullback to either the 9 or the VWAP, and then either the 9 or the VWAP offer me a location where I can look for an opportunity along these lines. That would be the ideal thing. What I don't want to do is buy here at the highs and then have to sit through a pullback, right? I'd like to kind of maybe set an alert here around 65, maybe as low as 64.60, 64.80. Yeah, that would be more considered a mean reversion. Correct, Anthony. That would be considered more of a mean reversion trade. So on a mean reversion trade, we would be looking more as kind of like a 1-to-1 kind of risk reward, right? So, but yes, once we are extended in one direction, like this, and we're extended in one direction, coming back to value or coming back to either the 9 or the VWAP would be considered a more of a mean reversion trade. Okay, can't really, I would say, you have to be a little bit more nimble on those types of trades, because obviously it's working against the trend here, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And the question is, you know, on these kind of trades, on a mean reversion type of trade, well, you need to see some evidence that it wants to go down, right? Right now, we're not seeing any evidence that it wants to pull back. So that's something we need to be careful with. Okay. All right. So again, I'm gonna give crude oil a bullish reading. I don't know when the last time I've ever said that in crude oil, but given what I'm seeing on the daily, given what I'm seeing on the 4-hour and the 30-minute, it seems that we are in a quite bullish market. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the initial balance range for the day session here. All right, and you can see that we are again developing another bullish candle here to the upside. Okay, so indicating that there is still appears to be a fair amount of interest here. I'm trying to kind of understand, maybe take a look here at the weekly chart to see where this price can go. But yeah, it looks like we're headed to 70 at least. Okay, at least to 70, and that's the point of control here of this visible range volume profile. That's what it feels like. If we can get above 65, which we're doing a good job of currently, that seems kind of the natural destination. Look at the weekly candle that we're developing here. A candle that started at 61 at the start of the week, and now we're up to 65, 5 points in 1 week. When's the last time we made 5 points in 1 week in crude oil? It's, yeah, maybe to the downside, not to the upside. Okay. All right. So again, crude oil. If we're going to participate in this market, I would say we would need to align ourselves with the trend. Need to locate places where we can participate to the upside. All right. Before I move on to the equity markets, I see that my like indicator is a little bit light on the likes. So I'm going to encourage those who are new to hit the like button. If you're not already a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you're interested in maybe further context about some of the things that Arizona has mentioned here, we do have a membership level where we have, I don't know, a good number of videos there that can help you and maybe give you some additional context on ways and that I look at the market and actual opportunities that I've actually executed against. Okay, so that's another way that you can, as Maria is saying, pay your tax, right? So in any case, guys, now with that, I got looks like with that little mention, I did get a couple of new likes. So we'll move on. We'll move on and take a look at the equity markets. The equity markets, here we are. We're gonna take a look at the daily chart here, and we've been in this consolidation pattern. We were starting to see some signs that maybe this we were going to break this consolidation pattern to the upside. I'm going to turn off some of these things here. Okay. So there was maybe some thoughts that maybe we were in the process of extending higher here. Okay, you can see that we've broken above this consolidation pattern that I had drawn here on the daily chart, right? That little triangle pattern, not little, right? Pretty strong, right? And my initial thought was that maybe we could head lower here. It did not make it to the other side before breaking the upside. Now, what are we developing? Well, now that we've broken above, okay, this is looking more like not a Dorito, but an ascending wedge, right? This is what it's looking like now, right? We're getting to some of these highs here, okay, and now we move from a Dorito pattern to an ascending wedge pattern, still giving us some indications that the market wants to head higher. Now, it'll be interesting, okay? It'll be interesting. I see that we're developing a little bit in the way of a bearish candle here. It'll be interesting if this level currently, this 26,288, whether that provides us maybe a location, right? This provides us a location for maybe a rotation of this pattern. Okay, so we'll have to see and witness. So let's go ahead and kind of drill into that daily candle here. We're using the 4-hour. So we'll go ahead and turn this off here and collapse this and remove. Well, actually, we're going to remove everything, but let's see. Turn this off here. Okay. So you can see that we are in some sort of consolidation pattern, right? That daily candle was developing a little bit in the bearish candle, right? Now we're kind of in this channel. Okay. We are in this channel, right? Kind of oscillating here. Okay. So difficult kind of range to participate in this market. We see that leading up to this channeling that we were kind of moving to the upside, but we're starting to see maybe a little bit of a difficulty in getting above 26,300. Okay. We made it multiple attempts to get above that level, and in each case that we failed. And the longer we make those kinds of attempts and not continue, well, that opens up the door for the possibility of the price to continue and seek buyers lower. Okay. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 30-minute chart. Again, looks like a market that's been in some sort of range here. We're right at settlement from yesterday. Okay. We are seeing our 9 EMA looking to cross below. So I'm seeing a little bit of weakness in the market. Okay. We're making lower lows and lower highs. Okay. So we had a swing. We made a lower high. Another swing, made another lower low. And then another lower high, and now we're in this sort of this path of maybe some bearish price action on the short term. Okay, we're right up against the settlement price, right, right inside range. So we are in some area of balance. The question now becomes: do we continue to sustain this move to the downside, or are we going to remain in some sort of range? Okay. Are we going to remain in some sort of range? You've been trying to hold that over the midnight overnight price, but it definitely looks heavy. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. This level here is basically the lows from the prior day. Price does I agree, Marie. The price does indeed look heavy. Where price is below our 9, below our VWAP. I don't see any reason why we don't come back. I mean, assuming that we can get past settlement, that we don't come back and revisit this 26,300 based on what I'm seeing here. Okay. So from current levels. right? And that would maybe get us back to close to the settlement price from the prior day. Now, looking at the DMI, DMI is really not, giving us any really indication here as to direction, right? We have actually the negative DI is above, right? So giving us some indication that maybe the sellers have some control in this market, okay? But our ADX indicator is giving us a reading of above 25. So we are seeing a fair amount of momentum in the bearish direction. Okay, so I'm going to take a look now at the initial balance across the various markets and see what insights I can draw from that. So let's collapse this here a little bit. Okay, and we'll go ahead and open this up here, and we'll open up the initial balance range for Asia. Okay, and you can see Asia had a nice little extension here to the upside before London got a hold of it, and London basically rotated it in the opposite direction. Okay, so whatever gains Asia made, London has recouped them. Okay, so what is that an indication of? Well, it's an indication of rangy market. Okay, so we remain in a range. Well, what is that range? Well, I've already kind of quoted that one of the levels, and one of the levels I would say is this 26,100, and then the top end of the range I would say is probably closer to this 26,000. I'm going to call it 300. Okay, on the upside. Okay, so that's kind of the range we're in. Tradable, no doubt. Okay, does it require us to be a little bit patient? Absolutely. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if I'm going to entertain this market, if I'm not already in a trade, then I need to wait for market to come to a level where I can participate. And if the market has been in some sort of range, well, this 26,100 or maybe slightly below, maybe it's 26,000 could be an area where I could entertain maybe a reversal of current pricing, and that would align with the sort of general view of the Nasdaq that I have. So I'm going to go with a neutral to bearish kind of rating in the Nasdaq. Okay, if I'm a seller, hopefully you got up at this level and participating in a very nice move because we got a nice break here, right? A nice break of the price broke below the 9 EMA, retested the 9 EMA, and we've been following the 9 EMA ever since. So on the short term, we are in some bearish structure, and really I don't see anything that stands in the way of price reaching all the way down to at least the level that we indicates that maybe buyers have been here in the past. So again, I'm going to reiterate my neutral to bearish, maybe with a hint of bear there. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and take a look at the ES market here. Okay. Looking at the ES, let's take a look at the daily. Again, we're seeing a little bit of, indecision here up at the highs at the 7,000 level. I was kind of marking some levels as I was kind of trying to understand this market here. Now, again, if I'm just looking at these set of candles, you would say that this is a market that's looking to go higher, right? With maybe a little bit of indecision here at the top. Now you can see this. We have a set of candles here that we've seen sellers here in the past. Okay. So, and the fact that we have a little bit of indecision candle is maybe beginning to speak to us that maybe there's maybe a little bit of a pullback in the horizon. Okay. In this market, if we cannot hold above or cannot break and hold above, then the natural thing for the market to do is to come back and rotate back inside the area. And maybe we fill in some of this volume profile here. So that would be kind of the natural thing that I see here. Now, before we kind of embrace that, right, we need to see price to start to give us an indication of that possibility, right? So maybe less wicky candles giving us an indication that there's still some buyers in this market, and more candles that are more definitively giving us a direction. Okay, taking a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart again, also giving us that same kind of look and feel that I had mentioned. We're going to go ahead and turn off this initial balance here for a moment. Again, you can see that we are maybe on the beginnings of developing some structure that would indicate that maybe the market wants to head lower based on this, kind of lines that I've drawn here, right? So if I look at this, we'll maybe draw this again to kind of maybe make it a little bit clearer. But again, if we cannot break above 77,034, we've created a little bit of an area here that would indicate there is some sort of resistance, right? This is kind of a resistance zone here in this market. If we can't break and hold above it, then again, the natural inclination is that the market is going to look to find, right, some of the participants to kind of create some balance in this market. And the destination would be closer to this 69.60 level. 69.70 would be the kind of a destination that I would see if we are going to continue in this kind of bearish structure, okay? Or maybe better is neutral to bearish, okay? Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, we are developing a bearish engulfing candle, okay? And with this candle, we've been around this already, right? We see price kind of oscillating in and out of the 9 EMA. Price still remains above VWAP, but it's being challenged. Now we're not too far from settlement price. Some might argue that this might be maybe developing a little bit of a topping pattern here. Okay. If we do break below this 7,013 level, I really don't see any reason. Well, certainly reaching settlement and maybe the possibility of the market rotating all the way down to the lows of the day or lows of yesterday. Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead and compare where price is in relation to yesterday's price action here. So we'll go ahead and drag this across. And you can see that we're hovering right at the edge of value from yesterday, right? So if I go ahead and extend that line, that's exactly at the line that I draw here, that's supportive, right? So we're right up against the value area high. If we do manage to close and accept, then again, we're looking to maybe rotate all the way down to the bottom end of value, right? So again, another indication or another indicator that maybe there is possibility of rotating and remaining in range, okay, in this market. We'll do a quick comparison across the various sessions on the initial balance to see kind of where we're at here. Let's see. It looks like here. All right. Let's start off with Asia. Okay. We'll start off with Asia. Take a look at Asia. Asia was pretty much bullish, okay, on this market, right? We got a nice little break to the upside in Asia. And taking a look at the London, well, London doesn't seem to be all that interested, okay? So London actually is in the process of potentially taking it lower. So what is that an indication of? Well, that's an indication of that we're possibly in some sort of range. So it would not surprise me in the least if we were to revisit the lows, okay? And that would be aligned with this kind of range move because we did close below. We managed to close back inside, but did not find the participants that we needed to continue to drive price higher, okay? Instead, we've rotated, right? We've rotated price, and now it's looking to me that maybe we'll come down and maybe retest the lows of yesterday's session, okay? All right. Let's see here. So again, I'm going to go with a neutral to bearish rating on the ES as well, all right? Taking a look at the last market before we summarize and kind of provide a little bit of a game plan for today's session, we're going to take a look at the Dow. Okay, the Dow seems to be in some sort of consolidation. I would say it's probably I don't know. It seems like the weakest of the three. Look at the overlapping candles. Not a market I want to be a part of, right? You see all this overlap, all these overlapping candles is basically telling us that we're in a lot of indecision here, okay? Right? And if you don't believe me, well, take a look at the DMI here. The DMI is not giving us anything in the way of direction. Our ADX is falling, and our positive and negative are just basically on top of each other, okay? So no indication here as to the direction they want to take this market right now in the Dow, okay? 4-hour chart, more of the same, okay? A lot of overlapping price. Let's collapse this and turn off our initial balance here, okay, and collapse this, okay? So you can see a lot of overlapping price here. Wicks on both sides of the candle. Attempts to go higher. Yeah, barcoding, no doubt, right? Look at this. Not a market I want to be a part of. Okay. What can we do as traders here? Absolutely nothing. Okay. Market needs to pick a direction, right? Market needs to pick a direction. And once we have a direction, then we can participate. Right now, I'm probably sitting this market aside. Okay. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart giving us the same kind of look and feel, right? Maybe a tad, maybe showing a little evidence of maybe the beginnings of bear, but we have a buying wick, right? So there is, there appears to be some interest, okay, some interest in bringing this market higher, okay, but we've struggled to get above 49,240. Multiple attempts at getting above that level, rejected, okay. Taking a look at the fixed range volume profile, I expect that we are in some sort of range, but we'll confirm that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this. And sure enough, here we are. Price is inside a range, inside yesterday's range to be specific. We're below value area high. Okay, so we'll go ahead and draw this over here, below value area high, right? So as long as we stay below value area high, we're either going to stay in range or head lower. Okay, so taking a look at the initial balance range across the various markets. Let's see what they did with this here, and we'll open this up. We'll start off with Asia. Okay, Asia is bullish. Okay, Asia liked what it saw at these levels and participate to the bullish side. London, again, not so much. London said, I'm really not interested in participating to a long side in this market, right? I don't know if everyone's looking at the metals, Arizona. I think they're really looking for a catalyst. Maybe the metals are being seen as a flight to safety. Maybe there is a rotation, Arizona. I'm not sure, but maybe the metals are being seen as a market for safety, right? I think everyone is maybe expecting, and we're seeing some price action to indicate that maybe the equity markets has exhausted some things and now needs a new catalyst if it's going to continue to advance. But yeah, maybe there is something to what you're saying with respect to people looking at metals more. Okay, so again, I'm going to go with the same rating on the Dow. I don't really see any. I'm going to say a neutral to bearish. I would say is my rating. Really need to see price breaking above, making new highs before I start to change my sentiment there. Okay, let's go ahead now and sort of come up with a high level summary across various markets. So right now in the gold market, we made a very strong move here to the upside. It seems to be kind of in a kind of a digestion phase, I guess. Maybe. And right now we are, let's see, what market is this? This is London, kind of in range in London. We're going to go ahead and take a peek here. We're actually going to leave it at this. We're going to go ahead and open this up here for the US session. Okay, so this is the second candle in the way of developing our initial balance range. So what do we see? Well, given this gap and given kind of the price action, it kind of seems like that maybe the market it wants to continue higher. Okay, I see some bullish evidence here, but obviously we haven't made a new high in of late, and so I'm going to go with a neutral to bullish rating in gold. I think I'm going to say the same, definitely the same, maybe even stronger in the silver. Okay, I think I'm going to give it the neutral to bullish, maybe a tad more bullish on the silver. Okay, a crude oil. Again, I'm even surprised saying this. Okay, I'm bullish on crude. It's been a long time since I've said that. Okay, bullish on crude. All right, we're up at 66 now. All right, so question now becomes is how do I get in? How do I get in this market and manage my risk? And then I would say across the equity markets, okay, NQ looking bearish, ES also looking bearish, and then the Dow all looking. So across all the equities, guys, are bearish. Okay, so metals, I think we need to continue to look to the upside. I would say that you should also consider adding crude oil to that mix. Okay, 2021 was the last time was bullish on oil. I don't know. I don't know if it's that long ago, but it feels that way, Michael. Okay. So again, to summarize, I would say we need to continue to look for bullish opportunities in the metals. I would say that we need to look for bullish opportunities in the crude oil. And quite frankly, I'm going to be looking for maybe some bearish opportunities in the equities. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for you guys today in this pre-market review session. Again, as you exit the building, as you exit the doors and prepare for your day in trading, hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment or two indicating how this analysis is supporting you so others can benefit from it. And with that, I will close with the same statement that we always close all sessions. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent day trading, guys, and we'll talk again soon. You're welcome.